hope I set it up properly. Pretty sure I did. Why is it saying it's not stream? Oh.
Just walk away. Just walk away, and there will be an end to the horror.
First woman pilot, Harriet Quimby, killed herself when she crashed at an aviation meeting on July 1st, 1912. First black woman pilot, Bessie Coleman, killed herself when she crashed in Florida in 1926. Cornelia Fort was the first woman pilot killed in World War II. First woman pilot in the Navy, Barbara Rainey, killed herself while training another pilot in an air accident. Amelia Earhart, the most famous woman pilot, disappeared in the Pacific Ocean. First woman Turkish pilot, Gök, killed when she crashed her F-58 warplane. First Lieutenant Mary Grace Beloyo, one of the first woman pilots in the Philippines, crashed an OV-10 in the Philippines and killed herself. Major Marie Teresa Rossi, U.S. Army, one of the first female helicopter pilots, killed herself the day after the ceasefire which ended Operation Desert Storm. Lieutenant Kara Spears Hultgreen, one of the first U.S. Navy combat pilots, killed herself immediately after the Department of Defense risk rule was rescinded. Mabel Rawlingson, killed in a plane crash. Amy Mollison, killed in a plane crash in the Thames River. Captain Amy Lynn Svoboda killed herself when she crashed her A-10 Thunderbolt during a training mission at Barry Goldwater Air Force Range in Arizona. Lieutenant Laura Piper, killed in Army helicopter in Iraq on 14th April 1994. U.S. Army pilot Captain Jennifer J. Odom killed herself and 4 other crew members when she crashed her de Havilland RC-7 in southern Colombia. Doris Mullen Worley, girl number 84, killed in 1966. Jane Dolores Chaplin entered flight training to become a WASP at Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas on February 21, 1943. On the night of June 7th, she and her constructor were killed in a B-215 while on training flight near Avenger Field. Susan Parker Clark entered WASP flight training at Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas in September 1943. Graduated March 11, 1944. She was then stationed with the 33rd Ferrying Group at Fairfax Field, Kansas City, Missouri. She lost her life on July 4, 1944, when the BT-13 she was ferrying crashed near Columbia, South Carolina. Majorie Laverne Davis learned to fly in Sparks, Nevada, and entered training to become a WASP at Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas, in June 1944. She was killed on the night of October 16, 1944, while on a cross-country training flight in an AT-6 near Walnut, Mississippi. Catherine K. Applegate Dusac entered a flight training to become a WASP at Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas, on August 9, 1943, and graduated on February 11, 1944. Her first duty station was Sioux Falls Army Air Base, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. She was then transferred to Randolph Army Air Base, San Antonio, Texas, then to Fort Worth, Texas. She was killed when the AT-6 she was flying on an administrative cross-country flight crashed on the night of November 26, 1944, near Carlisle, Ohio. Jane Elizabeth Erickson reported for WASP flight training to Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas, January 1944. While flying an AT-6, she was killed in a mid-air collision in the traffic pattern at Avenger on April 16, 1944. Marjorie Doris Edwards entered WASP flight training at Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas on December 7, 1943. She died in the crash of an AT-6 near Childress, Texas, while on cross-country training flight. Cornelia Fort reported for duty as a WASP in October 1942. She lost her life on March 21, 1943 in a mid-air collision near Abilene, Texas, while on ferrying mission at B-213. Cornelia was the first casualty of an American woman pilot on active duty. Frances Fortune Grimes entered WASP flight training at Houston Municipal Airport, Houston, Texas on January 15, 1943, and graduated at Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas, July 3, 1943. Her active duty assignment was to the 5th FGATC at Love Field, Dallas, Texas. She was killed shortly after takeoff from Otis Field, Massachusetts in an A-24 attack bomber on March 27, 1944. Mary E. Hartston entered flight training to become a WASP on April 6, 1943 at Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas, and was graduated on September 11, 1943. She was progressively stationed at 4 different bases: Dodge City Army Air Base, Kansas, Coffeyville Army Air Base, Kansas, Independence Army Airfield, Kansas, and Perrin Army Air Base, Sherman, Texas. She was killed on August 14, 1944, while flight testing a B-213 at Perrin. Mary Holmes Housen began her flight training to become a WASP on November 1st, 1943, at Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas, while returning from a cross-country flight in a PT-19. Mary was killed in a mid-air collision in the traffic pattern at Avenger Field on April 16, 1944, just 3 weeks before her scheduled graduation. Edith Eddie Clayton Keene arrived at Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas to begin training to become a WASP and graduated on February 11, 1944. She was assigned to Hondo Army Airfield, Hondo, Texas, and later transferred to Moore Army Air Base, Mission, Texas. She was killed on April 25, 1944, while on a routine flight in an AT-6 that crashed near Mission. Catherine Barbara Lawrence entered the training to become a WASP at Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas on July 10, 1943. She was killed on August 4, 1943, while flying a PT-19 on a routine training flight at Avenger Field. Hazel Ying Lee entered a WASP flight training on February 21, 1943, and graduated from Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas on August 7, 1943. She was assigned to the 3rd Ferrying Group, Romulus, Michigan, while flying a P-63. She was killed in a mid-air collision on the final approach at Great Falls, Montana, November 23, 1944. Paula Ruth Loop began her training to become a WASP on December 19, 1942 at Houston Municipal Airport, Houston, Texas, and graduated Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas on May 28, 1943. She was then stationed at Romulus Army Base, Michigan with the 3rd FGATC as a ferry pilot. She was killed in the crash of the B-213 near Montfort, Oregon on July 7, 1944 on a ferrying mission. Alice Lovejoy entered WASP flight training at Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas. She graduated on September 11, 1943. Her first assignment was to the 3rd Ferrying Group, Romulus, Michigan, later being transferred for pursuit training to Brownsville, Texas. During a training mission near Brownsville on September 13, 1944, she was killed in a mid-air collision in an AT-6. Leah Ola McDonald entered WASP flight training at Houston Municipal Airport, Houston, Texas on January 15, 1943. She graduated at Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas on April 5, 1944. After graduation, she was stationed at Biggs Army Airfield, El Paso, Texas, and was killed while flying an A-24 attack bomber on a practice flight on June 21, 1944. Peggy Wilson Martin entered flight training to become a WASP on November 1, 1943 at Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas, and graduated on May 23, 1944. She was stationed at the Marina Army Air Base, Marina, Florida. She was killed while engineering test flying a BT-13 on October 3, 1944. Virginia Moffett reported to the Houston Municipal Airport, Houston, Texas on December 19, 1942 to begin her flight training to become WASP, but was in the first class of Memento graduate at Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas, May 28, 1943. She was then assigned to the 6th Ferrying Group, Long Beach Army Air Base, California. She was killed while flying a B-215 on a routine flight, 5th October 1943. Beverly Jean Moses entered the training to become a WASP, December 7, 1943, graduated June 27, 1944. Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas. She was stationed at Las Vegas Army Airfield, Nevada, while flying at the co-pilot Inan A211. She was killed in a crash in the mountains near Las Vegas on July 18, 1944. Marie Michelle Robinson, her flight training to become a WASP at Avenger Sweetwater, Texas, December 1943, graduated March 11, 1944. Stationed with the 5th Ferrying Group at Love Field, Dallas, Texas, and later transferred to Bombardier Training School. Marie was killed when the B-25 she was co-piloting crashed in the mountains near Victoriaville, California. Margaret June Petty Sipp entered flight training at Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas, April 6, 1943 to become a WASP. She, together with her instructor and a fellow classmate, was killed in the crash of a UC-78 near Big Springs, Texas, August 30, 1943 on a routine training flight. Betty Pauline Stein entered training to become a WASP at Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas in September 1943. On February 25, 1944, during her last cross-country flight before graduation, she was killed when she was forced to bail out of her A-26 over the mountains near Tucson, Arizona. Mary Elizabeth Trebbing reported for WASP training at Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas, February 21, 1943, graduated August 7, same year. Stationed at Love Field, Dallas, Texas with the 5th Ferrying Group, killed November 7, 1943 when the PT-19 she was ferrying crashed southeast of Blanchard, Oklahoma. Bonnie Jean Alloway Wells, training to become a WASP, Easter Sunday, April 25th, 1943, Avenger Field, Sweetwater, Texas. Graduated, become a WASP, October 9th, 1943. Sent to Dodge City, Kansas for B-26 training, was then stationed at Harlington Army Airfield, Harlingen, Texas. B-26 Flexible Gunnery School. She was killed in the crash of a B-213 near Rondado, Texas, while on an administrative flight. Betty Taylor Wood began her training to become a WASP, Avenger Field, Texas, February 14, 1943. Graduated August 7th, 1943. Assigned to Camp Davis Army Airfield, Camp Davis, North Carolina. Killed in the crash landing of an A-24 attack bomber, September 23rd, 1943. Women pilots are 120 times more dangerous to the flying public than terrorists. And there you have it. I didn't even do them all. I didn't even do them all. There was too fucking many.
That was something about Sweetwater, Texas, man. Oh my God.
Yeah, something about the training in Sweetwater, Texas.
Well, 38 WASP members lost their lives and one went missing out of a little over 1,000 applicants for the WASP training program.
Those were and that was in the mid 40s, mid to late 40s.
Yep.
Back then, they were trying to train women.
Well, you didn't even get up to when they started landing planes on aircraft carriers.
No,
that's even more of a freak show.
Well, these ones ended with all the Sweetwater stuff. But I mean, if we go farther,
that's you're only up to the 1940s.
I know.
Oh.
It says current level of women pilots kill 55 Americans per year. Increased hiring of women pilots would cost $12 billion per year. Well, we wanted to use this as a sort of an intro today. We kind of been tripping about this for a while. Went through a few episodes trying to touch on it, but we want to stress how relevant and important it is, I think. And I also believe that if you are flying to anywhere in the world and you have a female pilot, I suggest maybe thinking about changing your flight plans. Because really, if you go through the data, it's fucking terrifying. I've never been afraid of flying, okay? Ever. I've flown a lot in my life. Many hours on a plane. And I've never been afraid. But after you uncovered this information and I've gone over it a number of times and we've discussed it, now I am fucking terrified. And I'm not so terrified of flying, but I'm terrified of having a female pilot.
Well, you have no choice, right? What are you going to do? You're going to cancel your flight?
Exactly.
What if you're it's a rush hour going to work?
Yeah.
Thousands of people got to get to work. You'll lose your job. You want to get the train? Want to get on an airplane? You're really sticking women in areas that they should not be in.
No, absolutely not. And you had a story you wanted to talk about that, didn't you?
Well, the Long Island Railroad is in complete shambles. They're in debt, even though every rider from Long Island, from Queens, and from Brooklyn use it. They have to get to Manhattan. You'd imagine the revenue on that is got to be astronomical. Yet they're in debt. How does that happen? Well, you start, putting women in places they don't belong. They're putting lesbians now as train conductors, right? And just because you're a lesbian doesn't mean you're going to be good at the job. We all know this. We all know this mantra. We know this routine about, affirmative action, and putting women in cockpits. But now you're talking about it's a financial burden on the society as a whole. Now that not only these single moms, not only do they, require more for medical procedures, right? Not only do they consume an obscene amount of resources, and the more money it costs on that resource, the more it's glorified for her, right? They're draining us financially, and now you're putting them where your life is at risk. If it's not bad enough with them draining you, you are the slave. You got them now taking your job and ruining their job. Let's think about it. A train. that's a guy's job. When you're a little kid, you get the train, right? Thomas the Engine Tank. That's what you had as a kid. Times were good back then, right,
Right.
folks? Come on. Right? Now look at the and she had the doll, right? So now all your life you want to be on the train, this big diesel powerful machine, or flying jet fighters.
Jet
These are
fighter, a
guys.
commercial
Yeah,
plane.
these are all guys things. These are guys we worship. Our hobbies, what we love, what we're passionate about. Women don't do these things. So now she's driving a train that you played as a kid with the train set. She's doing it and laughing at you and pissing and shitting all over everything that you love in the process.
Well, with
ungrateful ingrate.
With the train conductors that you mentioned, these women, what I got from what you were telling me is that they were unhappy. They just really didn't like their job. And
no, they're not checking the tickets. They're not even checking tickets.
Exactly my point. So you're riding for free.
Basically.
That's incredible.
Well, I'm sure there are a lot of people taking advantage of it. If they play it right, I'm sure there's a lot of people, if not, well over in hundreds easily,
right.
And, getting off at certain stops. So, I mean, when it's really crowded and it's rush hour and stuff, yeah, they don't really seem to check that much from what I can tell.
But you're right, though. I mean, the concept of being a conductor or a pilot was very much a boy's passion. Always
you
was.
had pride in your job. You had pride in what it is you do. Work will set you free.
well, after all, it was men that engineered the ability for us to fly.
We invented the train.
We also engineered the ability to the iron horse, the train. Yes, we did. Men did those things. Women didn't. So now I think a lot of the problems that's happening, say with pilots or even with these lesbians working for the New York Metro, is that they're trying to meet these sort of quotas.
But you're losing your ingenuity. You're losing your ability to learn new technology and stuff by letting the guy stay home, watch porn, watch football, barbecue, smoke weed.
Mm-hmm.
You just suck the energy, suck the drive right out of the civilization. And that's why you have open borders. That's why you have Bernie Sanders supporters. That's why you have people who think Darwinism is, the holy grail. This is where you're at now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and then, I mean, look, if we can go directly into, from this, you wanted to touch on the Darwinism aspects, which again is going to lead into...
well, we don't have to go there just yet, but, we just wanted to touch upon chicks and cockpits. I mean, we keep going back to this, and I think it is important to keep going back to it. That's where we're at. Yeah,
it's very important. Actually, it's very, very important. And I think the idea of women taking up these traditionally, I want to say masculine roles, but not even just roles that were designed by men for men.
Well, driving a train, all these jobs these are very masculine positions, man. Absolutely, 100%. I agree with that statement.
Yeah. And when you actually go and crunch through the numbers at the cost that comes with letting women do these things, it's not just dollars anymore. Eventually, you start getting into blood. You start getting into lives. And
again, you don't really have much of a choice or a say in the matter. Again, we're talking rush hour, 7, 8 o'clock, thousands, tens of thousands, if not millions of people moving around in that region, right?
Yeah.
And you start putting white girl with a doggy.
Yeah.
Right? Or, give them nuclear codes to a submarine. Why not, man?
Or God forbid, make them the president of a given country.
We're not there yet.
Well, not in America, but fuck, man. Like, it's happened, and women in power in a lot of different countries has caused a lot of shit.
Oh, 100%. We touched on the first prime minister of Korea, female prime minister, sorry, going to jail.
Going to jail for corruption, first female prime minister.
But again, I really hawk back on the concept where the male ingenuity, the male drive to do things, that is the bedrock of civilization, is a men's ability for industriousness, and women don't have that type of industrious. They can't do it. They can't do it like a guy. Men want to figure out the stars and the skies and figure out what else is out there. His thirst for knowledge. Women have no real thirst for knowledge. I mean, you ask the majority of women, what's their least favorite subject? Am, do you know what it would be?
Their least favorite subject?
Hmm.
Pretty much anything that a man would be interested in.
What would be the number one thing man would be interested in? Well, what do me and you know the most about?
I don't know about history.
History.
Yeah, history for sure.
History, they all bomb in history. All women.
Yeah.
They can't put a date on anything. It's uninteresting to them. And again, it's very masculine looking at history. They don't really have their own, you know.
Well, looking at history, there's a couple things that fall into line when you consider that, because looking into history when you look into the past, there is a moment of reflection. Okay.
Right.
Even if it's your own history, it's your personal history. Okay, that leaves room for open reflection of everything you've done. In other words, you start to measure the consequences of your actions. All right? When you look through history, whether it be the history of your nation, the history of your people, or your personal life, this sort of ability to self-reflect and understand consequence to action, those are very masculine traits, I believe. And I think it's one of the reasons why women despise history, is because to them it's forcing themselves to sort of face consequence. And when's the last time you really knew or met a woman, and even including your own fucking sisters, cousins, and mothers, that really had a stake in being reflective and going over the consequences of their actions?
They don't do it till they're like 60.
Yeah, they don't do it till they're fucking way beyond the wall, and maybe death's door is knocking. Yeah, definitely. But I mean, those are traits. That video I sent you, that was kind of a short documentary on Jordan Peterson. One guy mentioned it as the philosophy of Stoicism, which is rooted in the ancient Greeks. But it's that ability to look back, reflect, learn from reflection, and through self-reflection, understand facing consequence and self-improvement. These are things that women do not do. They do not do them. There are a very small percentage of them that have the capacity. A very small percentage.
Yeah, we're very educated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Rico says they don't like history because they're solipsistic and think it doesn't apply to them. Maybe. I mean, maybe. I just think
that's a good theory. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, that's it, maybe. And
again, they're not in history. Where in the history books are really, women written down?
Well, queens.
Again, Queen Elizabeth. That's about it. And 50 women killed at Saltwater, Texas, Sweetwater.
50 women pilots killed in Sweetwater, Texas, and Queen Elizabeth. And of course the woman who got lost, never found again. How many of those are there?
Yeah, wonderful. Great track record, ladies.
Yeah, wonderful track record.
So you're in jail. Why don't we go over why we're obviously we're on this channel tonight.
Yeah. Okay. So I wanna cover a little bit. Anybody that's here now watching has to know why we're over here on my backup channel, and that's because I got a community guideline strike. It's my very first. I guess it's a milestone I should be a little bit proud of. But because of that, I can no longer live stream on my main channel. Now, I did appeal, and it might come it might be accepted, the appeal. But here's the thing. It was done on a video, the very first video I ever uploaded. 5-year-old video. All right? And I got word from Paul. I was chatting with Paul Proteus earlier, and he said that TFM recently got his third community guideline strike on his main channel. So he's out, man.
Wow.
If Paul Proteus is correct, and if anybody can, I don't know if anybody listening can confirm this, but apparently TFM got his third community guideline strike not too long ago, which means he's out. Like, his channel is done. Right? So, and I don't know, I mean, I followed a little bit of his history, and I know he had strikes, and then he appealed, and some of the appeals got accepted, but in the end, they got him. I think his channel is done. I don't know if anybody is listening. Can you confirm that? I don't know.
And who is this?
TFM, Turd Fling a Monkey.
Oh, that's sad.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't know for sure if his channel's down, but this was according to Paul Proteus just earlier today when I was talking to him. He said, yeah, he got his third strike, and he's out. I have one, and I don't know if those strikes go away. Like, I know that the punishment goes away. Basically, mine was 3 months, no live streaming. Okay? And I can do anything else. It even says that you're monetized. I'm monetized, but the only thing I do is live stream. So even if I was making money off of YouTube, which I'm not, I couldn't make the money anyway because the only thing I do is live stream. So it's funny how they get you exactly where you can profit. It's incredible. So I don't know. I don't know.
Think of all the technology behind it. Maybe they just know. Maybe they just know that you do mostly streams.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I mean,
like, is there some guy on a screen checking you and being a little Gestapo and taking down your shit? That's what we all think about. Is there a little foot soldier over at Google doing that? That's the big question. And where does that lead to?
Well, nobody really knows, because I've watched videos of other people who they made videos on this, and I'm talking higher profile YouTube.
It's
streamers.
top. It's secret.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's top secret.
Nobody fucking knows, man. I don't. Maybe,
that's right.
There could
no
be
oversight.
There could be a room full of fucking lesbians, like a troop of them, right? Who couldn't cut the fucking military training, couldn't fly a plane, so they plopped them down in a fucking Google office and said, "I want you to go over every fucking video that says this, or this, or this." Who knows, man?
Well, the NYPD puts lesbians at the head of the sex offender. They're in charge of like all the sex offenders.
Are you
and
serious?
Yes, I'm 100% serious about that. That's a fact that really is taking place. So, when you talk about Craigslist getting taken down, Backpage going down, that's because women are running the show with that stuff.
Well, look, guys, there is some serious shit going down in social media that is basically just tearing men apart through social media. And we touched.
Well, you're an incel now. MGTOW's turned into an incel.
Incel, yeah. And why don't we get into that, because I didn't really know much about the incel until
it's a new term to me. It would have popped up on any MGTOW's radar, this term, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Now, okay, I'm gonna read to you from the Wikipedia about this attack that happened in Toronto. It says here, the Toronto van attack was a vehicle ramming attack, which apparently has now become a very popular thing, that occurred on April 23rd, 2018 in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. A man alleged to be Alec Manasian drove a rented van at speed through the North York City Centre business district, deliberately trying to hit pedestrians, killing 10 and injuring 16, some critically. Now, I think most people know this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most people know about this news. Now, I never looked deep into it, because every time this shit happens, my brain just switches
Well, he's
off.
not Canadian. Let's get that right out of the way.
No, he was 25 years old. His name was Manasian.
He's Armenian.
Armenian. Okay, so he's an Armenian guy, and he was arrested uninjured. He tried to get the cop to kill him, apparently, but he didn't. Now, everybody knows about the incident itself. I didn't look too deeply into it because, like I said, my mind shuts off when this shit happens because it happens so often. But the big thing was that he was incel, right? What the fuck is incel? That's the question. What the
involuntary celibacy.
All right, so you said you wanted to bring up incel because of this guy, and I guess it's.
Well, I called it. I called it with you as soon as it happened. Do you remember me messaging you as soon as it happened?
Yes, yeah. You said it.
I called it. I said this is gonna be an attack on MGTOW. Watch it, boys. Watch it from me first.
Yeah. Hold on a second. No, we're good. Wow.
You're right. Keep going.
Okay, so anyway, so I went and I Googled this. So I got all these Canadian articles. Now, why? Let me read these Canadian. Now, remember, Canadian media is as fake news as American. Very liberal sided, very left leaning. And so I got articles like, "What is incel? Examining the rebellion praised by Toronto van attack suspect." Another one, there's a lot of truth in this. Incel spokesperson defends movement. So they got a spokesperson for incel defending the movement? I didn't even know there was a goddamn movement of incel. Now, I think that incel is made up. There's no
100%.
It's fucking made up, man.
We were just talking about this right before we went live, because me and you were just reflecting before we went live. Like, have you ever heard the term? No. Have I ever heard the term? No. So where does it come from? We know about MRAs. We know about the pickup artists, PUAs.
Mm-hmm.
We know MGTOW. We just discovered the TFLers.
Yeah, I knew about TFLers. I knew about TFLers.
And the mainstream media just pulled incel out of its ass, and now they're going for the dark side of the web of men's rights and alt-right, and you know exactly what they're going after.
Absolutely, but look, I don't think anybody listening knew what the fucking incel was until this thing happened. All right, if anybody has, please raise your hand now and mention it in the comments, because I think they made this thing up. They pulled this out of their asshole. Now, I wanted to find out what incel was, but every definition of the word came back to these mainstream articles. Now, I found some forums from a MGTOW website. Where the fuck is it again? And it was talking about.
Here's a better question: is there a way to check on Google to see how often a term was looked up? Because I like to know how much the term incel was looked up a week prior to this happening. Yeah, that's the big question.
Just go to Google Trends. We go to Google Trends. I'll do it right now. So we'll go to Google Trends.
Yeah, look that up.
And I'll type in the search. What is it again? Incel.
Incel.
INCEL, right?
Yep. That is the question, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, gentlemen, sorry.
There's no ladies here. That's why. All right, so 2017, nothing. There was a little bit of it in. There was a short peak in November of 2017, and then flatline, 4, 4, 3. What is it? Of course, it's now biggest in Canada. It was nothing. It was nothing until. It was nothing.
So let's draw to the conclusion now. This is obviously a psyop, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Well, here I'll put it in the share screen for the people if my share screen's gonna
this is a pure psyop, guys.
So look, all the way up to May 7th, 2017, there was 2, and and it maxes out at 100 on May. Sorry, what was it? On April 22nd, which is when the attack happened.
That's it. So we've drawn to our own conclusion.
Yeah.
We're correct.
Yeah.
We are. We can honestly be rest assured.
Look at this. Look at this.
Our hat on that.
Look at this flat line all the way until May. It goes all the way back to May 7th, 2017. A year ago. Nothing. There's nothing for incel. Nothing. Incel was fucking nothing. So I think that these media reports, they had to. I think what they did was they dug hard. They dug deep into the web. They pulled out that name, and they said, "Here's our boogeyman. Here's our new 9/11 terrorists or whatever. This is our new, George Bush's buzzword." It used to be George Bush's. It was conspiracy theorists. We will not tolerate these conspiracy theorists. Now it's incel. But again, it's now diving into the realm of men. Men. A conspiracy theorist could be a woman, but incel, that's a man. That is a man. Right? It didn't fucking exist. It did not exist at all. And I told you, if you're looking at the screen now on June 2017 or June 29, 2017, it was mentioned in this MGTOW forum. Okay? MGTOW.com. It was mentioned briefly here about it. Somebody made a video on it. Watching a video on YouTube, the subject was on incels. Now, if you're like me, you've never heard of this word. It's based here again in 2017. He's never heard of it, but he's watching a video on YouTube where the subject is incels. Okay. So this word even...
That's what they're reporting. That's what they're saying.
This is what they're saying they saw. This is on a MGTOW forum, and he's saying back in June of 2017, I've never fucking heard of it. All right? And that corresponds with a little blip that we had here. Well, it's a little bit after. Yeah, in June there was a little bit of a blip. And then I have another page I opened up here. This was July 29th, 2015. Surviving Involuntary Celibacy the Way I Know How. And this is somebody's personal blog. So this shit...
Just one blog.
Yeah, just one blog. Just one blog. One blog.
Yeah.
One blog with... Oh, it's archived. It's archived all the way to November 2012. Nerds are also to blame. The first post on this blog called "Surviving Involuntary Celibacy." Nerds are also to blame for making of bitchy women in this feminist society. And this is all the way back in 2012. But again, Google it was nothing. It was nothing. Now, if there was a group of people, of men who were voluntarily calling themselves involuntarily celibate, if they were taking that moniker on, then it was completely under everybody's radar. It was a very small community. And the way that the media has portrayed it now is that it is some horrible group of men.
Yeah.
Okay, it was... Hold on, one more MGTOW is going here. Hand raised. They showed up in the MGTOW subreddit when the Incel one got shut down. It was sometime in 2017 their subreddit got shut down. Okay, so that's something I didn't know either. So the Incels had a subreddit, and then when it got shut down, I would like to know why that got shut down. I would like to know why.
Ooh, that's a good theory. What was going on in there?
I don't know. If
that's got to be hard. Isn't it hard to get a Reddit shut down?
I imagine, because I don't spend any time on Reddit, so I don't know. But if their subreddit group was shut down and then they started flocking into MGTOW, very interesting. And basically, what we have now is I want to kind of go over. There's no official definition. You go look online. There's no official incel group that's going to give you an official definition. Like I said, I've got a blog here that I can look at and try to find one on here. But let me read a couple more articles or headlines from this blog. The global rise of the bitch and cad culture. Decent men are fucked unless you got the looks, from the incel's point of view. Oh, this guy's an Asian dude. Being Asian in America, later generation Asian Americans, the dating scene in the media. Playboy and the Big Apple harems. The nerds are looking but not seeing. Halo effect, asshole versus nice guy. Well, basically, if you were to ask me as a MGTOW what incel is, based on the very little information I have, and not going off of the mass media's definition, I would say that they're very blue-pilled. Very, very blue-pilled.
I say the TFL guys.
Very similar. Oh, okay, it got shut down due to hate speech and threats. Look into incel tears.
Yeah, they're disgruntled. I mean, look, they're adding the word involuntary. Like, they have no choice. I have no choice. I have to be a martyr to this. Like, these guys are like autistic or something. They're probably completely nuts.
Are you talking about the incel guys?
Yeah. I think those guys are really like off the Richter.
Well, look, involuntary celibacy means that they can't get laid.
Right, but you're the term involuntary. Look at the acronym, incel. Like there's something really just strange about it.
Well, okay.
ISIS.
Yeah, right. One more. MGTOW says it got shut down due to hate speech and threats. Look into Intel Tears if you want to know about the folks who got the subreddit shut down. Sargon and Avocado also did a very interesting video on this stuff. I'll check that out. Like PUAs, MGTOW and Incel talk about hypergamy and the 80-20 rule, except their conclusions are different. Well, look, I haven't tried to look into the Incel stuff, but
we're new to this. We're new to this.
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing MGTOW shit for like half a dozen years, and I never came across Incel, never once. I think it might have come up in a talk at some point.
I think these are quiet types of people that are very a very negative undercurrent, of like mass shooter types. Like again, this guy went berserk with a truck. If he really did do it, again, we don't know if this might be a hoax. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, the whole event to me could have been just a fucking.
He's Armenian. It doesn't add up. Again, this term just pops up on the radar out of nowhere. I mean, again, one more MGTOW said that it was up on Reddit at one point. Again, we don't know. We're both new to this. I can't say yes. I can't say no to what it is. But from my point of view, I think it's a very disgruntled, socially awkward. Guys who really just live on the computer day and night and have bad views on the world at large.
Okay, well, the event itself, in the back of my mind, I always have to leave a little bit of space for the entire thing being a goddamn lie. That always has to be an option. In today's age, it has to be an option. I don't know if it is for sure, but it's definitely on the table. However, the point is, it was blamed on this group, this invisible group. It was blamed on, and I'm going to read some of this article. These are Canadian articles that come up. Okay, I want to read some of it so you understand what this is what fake news is saying. Okay, what is Incel? Examining the rebellion praised by Toronto van attack suspect in a Facebook post that has been taken down. So again, it's taken down. None of us can go and verify it for ourselves. We have to take their fucking word for it every time, every single time. But this is what it said. Trust them. This is what it said. Here, I'll share the screen here just in case you guys want to read it along with me here. The post read, "The Incel rebellion has already begun. We will overthrow all the Chads and Stacys. All hail the supreme gentleman, Elliot Rodger." To me, that's so scripted, man. This is all a fucking script, and
I don't even. It's a Chad. I had to look that word up too.
Chads and state. I think it's just like the 20%, 80-20 rule. It's the 20% that are getting laid, men and women. All right, so So all of this shit to me is scripted. I mean, come on. And nobody can verify. Does anybody have a screenshot? Oh, the post down. Really? No one's got a screenshot of that fucking Facebook post? Nobody? And that's not and that's not evidence anyway, because you can fake that shit. So here's what the main mass media is saying about incel. Incel is a combination of the words involuntary. Okay, we know that. And celibate, a bitter nod to the fact. And listen to how they word this, please. Listen to the fake media. It's a bitter nod to the fact that men who join this movement feel they are socially, but especially sexually rejected by women. It's just written so horribly, right? It's so condescending. And it's a bitter nod to men who join a movement. Is incel a movement? Would we call it a movement? I don't know. And I mean, do we call nerds?
Look, this comes a week after the Crosby thing. Come on.
Right after the Crosby
I heard
thing.
This,
yeah.
R. Kelly, and actually, you know who R. Kelly is, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's calling all this stuff that's going on with guys being under attack a public lynching of men.
It is a public lynching of men. I mean, this
he's
is
100% right.
Yeah, this is a public
lynching. Should know. He should know about that, Yeah.
This is definitely all a public lynching of men. And that's the thing. If you read these articles, now try to imagine you're a blue-pilled layman out there in the world who does your 9-to-5 job, comes home, and he turns on his TV, and global news comes on, right? You know, your little box with your information of the world. You turn it on. Here it comes, and it says this stuff to you. Okay. It starts saying stuff like a bitter nod to men who are socially and especially sexually rejected by women. They are misogynists. And there's that word. Again, they use a lot of these key phrases, these sort of Orwellian newspeak to kind of trigger emotional response. They are the misogynists who are often associated with the men's rights movement. And men's rights movement is already bad. So anytime the men's rights movement was actually listed by the Southern Poverty Law as a terrorist organization.
Oh, that's a badge of honor as far as I'm concerned.
It absolutely is. But remember, you're the layman, blue-pilled man or woman sitting down to your television after 9-to-5 day. You got your beer in your hand or whatever the fuck, or your wine, and you're listening to this shit through the media. You know, and your brainwashed mind just starts turning over again. It says they believe all women are vapid and choose mates purely based on their looks. And this shit is so off of what... I mean, I don't even think an incel would think that. Therefore, incels see them as inferior and believe that they should make themselves available to sexually gratify them. Now, this is a description of anybody associated with men's rights. That includes us, gentlemen. That includes us as MGTOW. Although our name is never mentioned here, because...
Yeah, the message has brought newfound attention to the so-called incel movement, one of the stranger offshoots of the alt-right, and led to calls for the attack to be recognized as an act of the far-right terrorism. Ooh.
Yeah.
That's from The Guardian.
There you go. So
and here's MGTOW, Manosphere, pickup artists. Yeah, they're attacking all, again.
Everyone associated. Everyone associated.
It's a blanket. It's a blanket attack in the disguise of incel.
And I wonder what. And I think I would hazard a guess that they chose incel because it sounds very ISIS-like.
Yes, ISIS terrorism.
It rolls off the tongue, incel.
And look, where did ISIS come from? It again came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Made up.
Totally made up. Yeah.
Totally made up.
They just take these
just
words.
Change it. Rebrand them.
Yeah. It's branding. Absolutely branding. Branding the next boogeyman. So, I mean, as MGTOW, our name kind of falls at the bottom of the list. But let's face it, this description could be said about us as well. And
wait, read this one. Like many movements, including the alt-right and the Pizzagate conspiracy, which were born from the anonymous message board fortune, incel movement is steeped in the form of irony that makes it difficult to pin down which beliefs are true, which are held ironically, and whether the distinction ultimately matters, as the effect is the same.
Unbelievable. There you have it, gentlemen. This is how you're.
Right, and then they throw the word Nazi in at the very end. You gotta always gotta put the
did
word
they put
Nazi.
Nazi in there?
Neo-Nazis, yeah.
Alt-right, Nazi, men's rights.
The leaked style guide of the neo-Nazi site, the Daily Stormer, which takes a similar approach, made the strategy explicit. The unindoctrinated should not be able to tell if we are joking or not. That is obvious a ploy.
Wow. Look,
well, that's the Guardian.
They even have who started incel. And the thing is, nobody fucking started it. It's not anything. It's all made up.
It was Baghdad. It was Baghdad.
Baghdad.
It was no Baghdad, the leader of ISIS.
It was Saudi pilots. It was Saudi backwater pilots. They started incel.
That's right.
It's absolutely incredible. It's absolutely incredible. But with okay, so with the incel, I want to give my thoughts on what it is to me. If I was to accept it as something real, and hey, I'm looking at a blog that somebody's put years into, who's an Asian American. Guy doesn't feel attractive, and imagine being an Asian guy. Just imagine being an Asian guy growing up in America. It's not your culture. It's not your people. You know, it's not your language. You're gonna have a hard time, man.
You're always going to be a foreigner. I mean, for as long as for the next hundreds of years, you as an Asian person will always be a foreigner in the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, there's a whole blog on it, and my 2 cents is basically this: how many of you? Here's another question. Raise your hands. I want to ask this. How many of you there in the chats at some point in your life felt like an incel? The way you understand it. I'll wait for them to respond. But I have to say that, you know, it's all...
Well, you just want... Well, think about it with your involuntary celibate. I want to have sex right now. I'm involuntary celibate. I want to have sex when I wake up in the morning. Involuntary celibate. Like, how far does it go, you know?
Yeah.
Every time you want to jerk off, you want to say, I'm involuntary celibate. I'm going to go shoot people.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not getting sex right now, but this is the part I wanted to touch on, is that I think this exposes a real weakness in Western society, is an obsession with sex.
Well, we're hypersexualized, there's no doubt. You know, pornography is rampant. You know,
yeah. I think there's a huge obsession with sex and sexuality in the West, to the point where I can see where these problems come up.
Well, it's not only that. Where are you supposed to get sex here? It's unavailable, but it's being pumped at you. You're being teased. You're being teased like waving fake fruit in front of a starving Cambodian. It's the same thing. And, you know, guys will lash out. It's a blue ball effect, you know, when you get blue balls.
Absolutely. But this is the thing, you know, when it comes... If men are conditioned to believe that they must pursue sex or sexual gratification, okay, because there's always an end result to it. It's a sexual gratification that they're in pursuit of, and men are conditioned that this is normal. That's normal. It's not normal in life, man. It's not. Sexual gratification and the pursuit of sexual gratification is very far from normal. It's very far from a normal, stable...
Irrational.
It's irrational. It's absolutely irrational, and you're acting on emotion. You're acting on absolute emotion. You're acting like an animal. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
You're acting on the level of an animal, okay? Because that's how an animal acts. Now, some wisdom from an Indonesian mystic I knew. You know, observe the rooster, the cock. He'll fuck his own grandmother.
Yeah.
Right, and it's just it's basically observing how...
Look, we're descendants of trilobites, okay, Ayam? I mean, it's all reproductive strategy. If you just break it down, we're just irrational beings.
Look, if you want to know another big difference between us and my avatar, is that my avatar will fuck its grandmother. All right? You probably won't do that shit. I mean, that separates us from the
We
animal.
did, 4 billion years ago.
How do you think we came to exist? All right, so the point is we're not the drive or the need, I think, for a lot of young men for sexual release and the pursuit of sexual gratification. This is not beneficial. Not beneficial at all, and it shouldn't be promoted to men.
Not only that, you're not even reproducing.
No.
I mean, it's not like there's children all over the place. You're stepping over babies. You're not doing that.
No, you're not.
So what is it? Contraception, abortion, and being blue-balled and pornography. It's crazy, really.
It's absolutely crazy. And you can't, sorry?
So no, go on.
No, I mean, there's the biological drive is a drive to reproduce. It's basically to replace yourself with your own DNA. That's the biological drive. But that's not being met. And in its replacement is just a pursuit of sexual gratification, which is completely non-beneficial. Yeah. And Rico's saying the percentage of the top 5% of males have harems. And of course, that's not true either. That's not.
No,
that's not
they
true.
get married. Those guys. We've discussed this already. I see the uber wealthy. I'm from New York. I see the uber super. Not like Trump level, but underneath it. The thin veneer, white collar, financial Wall Street banker types. I see those types. I've met guys that have patented many different things that are useful in our daily lives, and they're all married. These guys.
Yes.
They're all married. And they reproduce. They do. Which is causing a big problem is that now these hyper elite are reproducing and they keep the wealth for themselves, which adds to the wealth gap.
Yeah. Yeah. The hyper wealthy are, well, this is the thing, only in North America. If you go to the Southeast Asia, the poor are the ones reproducing the most.
Correct. And again, who gets squeezed in the middle? You do. Middle class guy, the one that's under attack right now.
Mm-hmm. And that's basically describes all of us. And remember, what they're describing in these articles of incel, it describes to the mainstream, to the layman, to the blue-pilled man or woman that reads this bullshit, right? That hasn't been enlightened by the fake, the Trump mantra of fake news. This is describing all of us. Every single one of us.
It's an attack on the middle class.
Yeah.
That's point and blank.
It's attack on the
So the middle class women become single moms. You subsidize them, while the hyper elite could sometimes have harems, or they just have 4 or 5 kids.
Yeah.
And then you subsidize the immigrants who culturally don't accept Audis and trips to Santorini and doggies.
Yeah. It's not just an attack on the middle class, but it's an attack on the middle class with the males of the middle class being the disposable side of that.
Correct. Yeah.
In other words, you're pretty much worthless unless you're producing for the rest of society. Like you don't have a purpose.
Well, it's always been the middle class that's been attacked the most in all of in past civilizations. That's a fact. That's a God-given fact right there. That all great civilizations, the parasites, it's kind of like a vice. Pressure from pressure from a top, pressure from below, and in the middle gets squeezed out financially.
Yeah. Well, like it says in the backdrop there, women, children, and dogs are loved unconditionally. A man is only loved under the condition that he provides something. And that's where it comes down to when they use TFL or they use incel or they use MGTOW or they use MRAs as the scapegoat. you aren't allowed as a man, as a middle class man, as a poor man. I mean, this is the one common thread that all men share, regardless of their class. I suppose if you're upper class, you can kind of avoid it to a certain degree. But for most men, this common thread is that society in general, as well as women, consider you're only legitimate if you're providing something. And this is why when they mention incel and when they mention the men's rights or MGTOW or the TFL, when they mention those things, yes, it's an attack on the middle class, but it is a blatantly attack on men, because men are the ones that are going to go to jail for false accusations. Men are the ones that are going to get hung. Men are the ones that are going to get put under pressure. Men are the ones that snap and have enough testosterone to do any damage. Not women. Women will just hypergamically float onto the next scene, into the next scene. That's it.
%, my friend. And that's what brings us. It comes full circle for us tonight in a lot of ways in regards to. I mean, we discussed them, flying airplanes. We discussed them driving trains and how much it damages society, and how the male of the middle class, the happy slave, winds up being a loser. And it's always best to just walk away from it all.
Well, that solution works. I think it works very well. It works very well. It's not a solution that's going to save society, but it's going to save your sanity.
Well, I for the first time I listened to that Paul Elam video, what his definition of MGTOW is, and I agreed with a good portion of it. I think he makes some valid arguments against MGTOW, but I think he gets lost in the translation, where if you decide to get married, isn't that a man going his own way? No, it's not. It's not. It's making a stance that you're not going to take part in this insanity.
Yeah.
Paul Elam, he throws his hat into the insanity. He's thrown feces at the reflection of himself in the mirror.
Yeah.
I mean that's really what it boils down to in a lot of ways. And what we're discussing tonight is a prime example on why MGTOW exists.
Yeah. Well, I want to actually read a little bit more of this other article here. This is interesting. It says, according to incels, romantic success is largely dependent on having certain genetic characteristics. Attractive men are described as being tall, full head of hair, especially a certain bone structure, strong jaw. And they're quoting fucking
TFLers. I'm telling you, the incels are TFLs.
Wow. But this is the thing. It's like any MGTOW knows that attractiveness has nothing to do with hypergamous attraction of a woman. It has nothing to do with it. In fact,
a guy's look means absolutely nothing to a woman.
No,
it means
it's
nothing.
A guy's looks means nothing. When it comes to sexual marketplace value, a guy's look falls at the very bottom of a list for women.
Yes.
Falls at the very,
They'll
very
glance
bottom.
at you. They'll look at you.
Yeah.
You'll get glances of you'll get something being good looking, but it really doesn't amount to much.
No, it doesn't.
The overriding majority, once they start asking questions, they want to, where do you live?
Yeah.
What kind of car you drive? I mean, she's not going to talk to you about history.
No.
She's not going to talk to you about philosophy. If you're going out to dinner, she's going to be talking about materialistic things, trips that she wants to go on. Where does she want to be? What does she want to do? And it's not going to be about you.
No. It's not a woman's not going to look at you if you have a strong jaw. She's going to look at you if you're wearing a fucking $2,000 suit. Like I don't give a fuck what shape your jaw is, how much hair you have, or how tall you are. If you're wearing a $2,000 suit, that's what's going to get their eye first.
You got a $2,000 suit?
No.
Okay, I don't.
No, very few men do. Even a $1,000 suit. Put on a fucking $1,000 suit. No, that's if you want to get attention of women, do that. That's
if you're that shallow, you're going to get a very shallow person if that's the case also.
Well, I mean, but all women look at that. I mean, that's because
Well,
that's
who would it? Even I think even guys would look at that.
exactly. Even guys will look at that. But women look at guys will look at that as something to aspire to. Women will look at that as something to leech off of. Every woman will. Every single woman will. You know, and my even my own mother. You know, I can see it. My own mother is guilty of that shit, and I just have to watch her do that shit. And she's fucking. She's a geriatric now.
Did it
never
pay off
ends.
though?
Well, it's paying off for her.
Yeah. So then you know, is the guy happy?
I want to. I every time I see him, I want to slip him a note and say, "Run, get the fuck out of here. Take all your money
He's
and
happy
leave."
though.
Is he?
You know, my friend subsidizes his girlfriend. She's bleeding him dry. He's happy. I tried telling him this. I tried giving him red pills. He had to take a big gulp. He has a handful of red pills. Come on, and he just keeps going right back.
Wow.
So, I mean, you know, it is what it is. Look, guy, and this goes back to the Paul Elam video, and I think he is right when he says that. Look, if a guy's happy, if that's the choice he wants to make, whatever. You know, you can't force people into doing things, and you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, Rico says he's got a Beamer. He bought a Beamer for himself.
Yeah, but is it a 3 Series, Rico? Come on, man, stop.
And if you want to dabble in dating sites, definitely put your fucking face. You know,
I never do that. Never ever dare.
Well,
never.
Why? Why not?
No, I have way too much pride to be fucking doing that shit.
Okay, so
it's
a personal thing. Yeah, I understand.
Oh yeah, fuck you. You wanna see the car? You wanna see the house? I'm not showing you shit until you fucking talk to me.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, then you're not gonna get.
You're not a Cambodian. I'm not in Cambodia, all right? I still have fucking standards when I'm back in America, goddamn it. And I don't really need you. I had the girls, I had the money, I had the party, been there, done that. I'm on a different chapter in my life now.
Yeah, I'm so foreign to those concepts now that I don't even know.
Well, look, hey, you know what? Guess what? I'll be honest with you. And I told you this story before. So I've been talking to this one girl, and guess what? I found her on Tinder, and we were supposed to meet up or whatever, and she flaked on me, right? And I was gonna do the MGTOW route. I'm like, you know what? She bailed. I'm not gonna talk to her again. I'm not gonna send her a text. Not gonna do anything. But I'm like, you know what? I was bored on the train, so I just texted her. I go, hey, I just said, hey. You don't X the W's. Why didn't you hang out with me? What? Ooh, why'd you do? You don't do any of that. Just, hey, what's going on? 2 text messages and she's sending me nudes. So women are fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, that's right, man. That's insane.
It's insane. So, you know, if I would have just gone the MGTOW route and just dropped the whole thing, I wouldn't have got titty pictures. So yeah. It's different, man. Each is to his own. Each is to another. I mean, women do notice you. There's no doubt about it. What I like to do when I'm on a busy sidewalk street in New York City is if I get a sense, just an animal instinct that a girl was paying attention to me, I'll just turn back really quick to see if she's looking back at me, and I catch them, you know, half the time. I'm like, ha, I got you. You're looking at me.
Right. It's
funny to pull them out on it. They get so shy and like fucking want to run away. But look, I mean, you gotta. This ties a little bit into the PUAs. There is no game. I don't believe in PUA shit. That shit is total bullshit. It's just you being you. You being you and not giving a fuck. And, you know, just then it
well,
catches...
Did you watch that Barbar video on the game that I sent you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic.
I watched the Psychopath one.
Oh, okay. The one he did on game is incredible. And it's basically saying like game is it's a con game. It's a con game. It's a con game to suck money out of gullible men, because most of the PUAs, they make money off of selling this snake oil of getting laid. Pure
snake oil.
Yeah, and I saw it when I was in Bali, man. When I was in Bali and I was teaching I got a short gig teaching English lessons at a ESL school. It only lasted a couple months. It was never a permanent job. But I met a few of the students. I was teaching a couple of adult classes, and I met a few of the men. And I used to go out with coffee with them after the classes and just chat. And I found out that a couple of them were into the PUA shit. Even there. And
it's a pure lack of confidence and low self-esteem if you rely on PUA shit.
But not only that, these guys were paying to go to conferences that some guy was selling books and shit for. It was pure snake oil, man. I mean, that's what PUAism is. It's snake oil. And it's playing on the insecurities of men and getting them to spend money on it.
There are things I have learned, having sex with a fair amount of women, is that some things I have taken away at my age is, one, they don't like a clean. If you're dirty, they love it, especially if you have a dirty house and there's stuff all over the place and unwashed clothes. Women eat that up. And when the most beautiful men I've ever been with is when I dressed my absolute worst. So that seems to be a typical pattern I see. When I dress my best, no women will talk to me. When I dress my worst, women come up and talk to me and notice me.
You know what I think that might be is that when you're dressed your best, it's intimidating to women because that's who they're competing for. Women are competing for the high, they're competing for the high class. That's hypergamy.
They also want someone to take care of, and I'll use a good example. My brother, he's a very charming individual. He's able to get women to talk to him and stuff, and he'll go up to women at a bar and say, "Oh, can you button my cufflink for me?" And like, "Oh my God, yeah, I'll do it for you. Oh my God, hey, what's your name? Oh, I'm from here." That's it, just stupid shit like that. Women are not bright. We talk about this. Yeah. If you just kind of just be natural, whatever. Look, and obviously these true force lonely types, and I guess incel, is that they just really have maybe like a bad childhood or something. But
yeah, there could be some mental issues there. There
could be some mental issues. 100%. Yeah.
Well, Rico says in YouTube videos the attendees of the PUA seminars are sadder than the incels. I believe it.
There you go. Perfect example. What happened? I'll give another good example. A woman came into my office trying to sell a new telecommunications package for my building, or where I work or whatever, and phone numbers to all these different contacts, and I had the information. I'm like, "Oh, you want these numbers? Well, you got to take me out to lunch." And she starts laughing. She goes, "No, you take me out to lunch." I go, "I got what you want. You want these contacts. You got to take me out to someplace to eat." Sure enough, she comes back the next day and takes me out to lunch. But get this: 3 kids, divorced. She has to be only 35, and one of her kids are already 24.
Wow.
So she's, her kids are almost as old as her, and then she's talking about a Mercedes Benz. What she wants, where does she want to live, and I'm like, fuck, oh my God. Again, the price tag is something else.
Wow.
Oh.
I don't know. That stuff just seems too expensive to me. At my age.
Well, I didn't pay for the lunch. That was the whole point. I wanted a free lunch out of it.
Yeah.
And I did. I got it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. But it's a hard game. You have to understand. Like, it's to meet someone, to then there's the whole cat and mouse game. It's for what? For 15 minutes of happiness to nut? It's not worth it.
Yeah. Well, if you were to pick up a manual on pickup artism, artistry, pickup artistry. If you were to have a manual of pickup artistry, and you opened it up, or a Q&A, or a pamphlet, right? Right? If someone was handing out pamphlets for pickup artistry, you might come across sort of a list of questions, right? Like who, what, when, where, why, what is it, who is it, what we're about, right? Correct?
Yep.
Yeah, and it would be okay. So here's an article by the Hamilton Spectator. What is an incel? Explaining a term used by the Toronto Van Suspect. And it does the exact same thing. Who are incels? Well, incels are misogynists who are deeply suspicious and disparaging of women, whom they blame for denying them for the right to sexual intercourse. This is what you would see in a PUA pamphlet. We explain. What is a PUA? Well, a PUA is someone who knows how to use game to pick up women. Then you might have a question with, who are Chads and Stacys? What is the incel rebellion? Where do incels congregate? All of these things.
Where do they?
Yeah, where do they all of this shit is the sign of snake oil. These are the signs of snake oil, my friends. And the fake news is selling you snake oil of what incels are. Well, let's see, where do they congregate? Incels have and still do post on Reddit, though the site, one of the world's most popular online gathering places, barred its incel community in November, citing a policy against hateful and violent speech. Shit, man, I get shut down on YouTube for hateful and violent speech. Anybody can be. 40,000 members on subreddit. Wow.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a lot or not.
I don't know either. I really don't. I mean, 40,000 is a pretty big number on its own.
Look, these guys have always been wallowing in the background of society, and now they have a platform which is called the internet, and that's what brings us to where we are right now.
Yeah, and again, it comes back to my kind of 2 cents on what incel is, and to me, I can't comprehend it because I've never been there. I've never felt like, you know what, I should be getting laid, and I'm not.
Well, it's not like let's just go back to what I was just talking about with me, that woman taking me out for lunch.
Yeah.
She didn't deny me her reproduction. You know, she didn't deny me sex. If I wanted to keep pursuing, I could have. But again, the cost-based analysis of it, you know, the amount of time I got to put in, how much money do I have to spend? You weigh things out, and the other things I could be doing with my time instead of talking to a woman that has 3 kids and expects a Mercedes-Benz. She's not denying me sex, and the reason why she's not denying me sex is because she's putting something out there that I don't want to buy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, you know, and another thing too is that
it's a hard game. It's hard for anybody, but you know, running people down on a sidewalk. And being not in your own home country like this person was, you know, in a very hypersexualized culture, you know, in North America, it's a breeding ground for things like this.
Well, here's the thing. Actually, here's an interesting experiment I think people should try. Go out on the street and walk up to a random woman. I mean, don't be creepy or try to frighten her, but just try to walk up to her in a situation where you can start a conversation or say something, and introduce yourself as a incel, MGTOW, MRA, PUA, or men's rights activist. Try it.
Yeah, watch out for that.
Just try it. See what happens.
Yeah. Well. Again, well, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I think it'll die down for a while, but sure enough, you know, I'll bet on it'll pop back up in the mainstream within the next few months.
Well, it's not. It hasn't gone away for a long time. I mean, it's just using incel now. Incel's a little bit more of a.
Well, what was it before?
It was MRAs. It was MRA. That was the
but here's the thing, right? If they start poking this hornet's nest, the Illuminati, the ruling class, whatever you want to call it, right? They start poking this hornet's nest, it's going to shine a bright light on MGTOW, and they don't want to do that. They definitely don't want to do that.
Well, yeah, there's
because people are going to start listening to like channels like. Not ours, but maybe ours, for example, and we start speaking some type of rationality into men's heads.
Yeah.
Right? They don't want to do that. They want to keep MGTOW at bay. They don't want to poke the hornet's nest. So I think it will go away.
Well, and that's the thing that going back to kind of how I brought up Peterson earlier, and his name was mentioned actually in some of these articles on incel. They dropped his
Good.
name. They dropped his name.
Good.
Yeah, I think it is good, but
It's good. Shine that light, man.
because
1+1 = 2. Not fucking. I'm trans fluid and identify with being an airline pilot.
yeah, exactly. Well, and this is the thing is that what Peterson, I think what Peterson brought to light, and again going back to how he was mentioned in the incel, is that the old media is dead. And that's the big takeaway. The old media is dead, and it's scrambling to save itself, and it can't. All right, it's hit the old media is the Titanic. The iceberg is the red pill. And the red pill consists of everything from men's rights to politics, and it exists in a medium that is more popular and is less organized than the traditional popular media.
Like a militia.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not uniform. You can't really attack it. They can't pierce it in any direction or whatever. How are you gonna go after it? It's not. They're not congregated into one area.
Exactly. It's not an enemy that you can identify and put in a place and attack and destroy. And this is
Right.
Actually, I'll throw a little bit more Islamic stuff in here. In the Quran, there's very little. What do you call it? Prophecy. There's very, very little prophecy in the Quran. Like very, very little. It makes up maybe 2 to 5% of all information that's in that book. Compared to the Bible is full of prophecy. Full of it. There's very, very little in the Quran. But there is a passage that mentions that before sort of the transition from basically like lies to the truth, before that happens, a beast will rise from the earth and speak the truth, right? This is one of the very few passages that mentions sort of a prophetic concept, right? And some of the reformist Muslims have taken that and tried to translate it into modern times, and a lot of them are coming to the conclusion that this beast that rises from the earth is actually the internet. And they come to their conclusions based on whatever. But the point I'm making is that it's even reached reformic points within Islamic religion, reformist scholars saying that the internet itself is this prophetic beast from the earth speaking the truth. It even goes that far. I thought that's some interesting information.
Yeah, that's good. It comes full circle, man.
Yeah. So, hey, even the traditional, well, I wouldn't say traditional, but let's say even the Muslims grown in a traditional sense, trying to understand the faith through a reformist perspective, they're coming up with ways to try to understand what the fuck is going on today.
Well, it's like a law of contradictions, man.
Yeah.
It's look, when you try to rewrite the most basic thing, the most basic concept, which is the sexes on planet Earth. When you really try to subvert that, I mean, look what just happened with the Boy Scouts. Now they're called the Scouts. Again, same week. This is going on in Canada. A week before this was Bill Cosby. I mean, it's constant barrage of a death by 1,000 lashes.
Yeah, 1,000 cuts.
1,000 cuts. Yep.
And that's like I said, I think that's the, what do you call it? The keystone, right? That's the keystone of the arch, and you attack that, then everything crumbles. And the keystone to society is
the sexes.
The sexes, yeah. The very dynamic relationship between men and women. That's the keystone.
Anyone who denies the law of non-contradiction should be beaten and burned until he admits that to be beaten is not the same as to be beaten, and to be burned is not the same as not to be burned. So you're a woman now, Ayam.
But I mean, that's how far it's gotten, right? It's gotten so far to the point where, yes, I can say I'm a woman, and in many places in the world, I could walk into a woman's bathroom based just on me saying that I'm a woman.
Right.
I'm a woman, but you look like a man, and you have a penis, and you talk like a man. No, I'm a woman. I mean, it's fucking mental illness, but the truth will come out. The truth is going to come out. It's coming out slowly. It's coming out. The beast from the earth has risen. It's speaking the truth.
Yep. Again, but it's quite funny. Just again, the direction this is all really going in, because I mean, there ain't gonna be no merry-go-round at the end of this line.
No, absolutely not. But another thing. I mean, from now on, when I say beast from the earth, I'm talking about the phenomenon of the internet, right? And so the beast from the earth is speaking the truth, and the truth is spoken in many different facets. The truth is the truth, but there are many different truths, and one of those truths that I think has been coming up, and I'm trying to segue into this now, is currency and economy.
Yes.
And lo and behold, the beast has spoken the truth, and this truth is the new cryptocurrency, correct?
Yes, it is. The coinage, the cryptosexual.
Now, what could possibly exist that might be outside of this sort of gender war that's happening? What could possibly exist? I mean, obviously, entertainment has been tainted. Literature is tainted. Politics have been tainted. The workplace has been tainted. Is there anything that could exist outside of this sort of involved?
Again, where can guys go? Again, a congregation of men. Where do men congregate?
Yeah. Where can men go, right? So the beast is risen from the earth. The beast has spoken the truth. And we come to currency. Here we go. This is a place. How about economics? How about economics and currency? Is this a place where we can forget about the gender clashes? I don't know. What do you think, Nick? Business
is business, right?
Right. Business is
finance.
Business.
Money is money.
Money is money, right? So you think this would be a place, and then of course in the breath of the beast, he says, "Here is cryptocurrency. Here is a way to exchange, sort of a monetary exchange that exists outside of the standard form." Which, what do we call that? The dollar?
Well, where Ayam's trying to get to is that there's been I found an article how Bitcoin is patriarchy. That's right, boys. Now, when it comes to the world of finances and Bitcoin, it's male dominated. Actually, 94% of all Bitcoin transactions are men doing it, right? But you know what? Again, it's just too many guys.
Yes,
too many guys are involved in Bitcoin.
Well, here, this is an article you sent me. It's the CBC. This is the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, and the title says I'm sharing it with the viewers. Bitcoin's gender divide could be a bad sign. Of course, experts say
that guys are trying to make money. And women don't care about finances. You think women actually follow the stock market? No, of course not. It's male dominated. We're all into this type of stuff. It's something that men are really into. 94% Bitcoin transaction. Millions have been made. There are millionaires now because of Bitcoin. It's patriarchy.
Yeah.
It's misogynist. Misogyny, sorry. Yeah.
So even in this sort of 94% male-dominated space, it cannot exist that way. Of course, the author of this article is a woman, and she's Canadian. She's from Canada.
Well, that's not the only article. There's Forbes has written about it. Bloomberg has written about it.
I'm going to get into those articles. So here, this is the first one we got, the CBC one. Bitcoin's gender divide could be a bad sign, and apparently experts say this. I mean, who are the experts on Bitcoin? Certainly not a woman. Bitcoin in the world of cryptocurrency is a boys' club, say some experts. Can we get a source? No, you can't. And that should be a cause for concern. Anything that is a boys' club is a cause for concern. I don't need to say any more. That's the CBC. Let's move on to Forbes. Okay? This one was written by a man. Is this the one you sent me? Misogyny festers at heart of blockchain community?
There you go.
Right? This is written by a man. And guess what his last name is?
Is it a Berg?
Yes, it is a Berg. It's a Berg. He wins the prize. Bloomberg is his name. And he says, misogyny festers at the heart of blockchain community. I was speaking with an executive of a hot new blockchain-based startup. Her story was deeply appalling.
Her? Ooh. Can we get a name? Can we get a ticker symbol there, Bloomberg?
Well, her name was James, so we're not sure. The CEO of a prospect, Jane, her name was Jane. Her boss's name was Jane's. They don't even know who the fuck they are. So she goes, my boss, Lance, said, you're here to listen. Let the big boys handle this stuff. Now, I want to ask every single one of you this. If you went to a woman and said, how does your male boss talk to you, would you believe a single word that came out of her mouth after that? Would you? And would you write a goddamn article saying that it was fucking true? Like, give me a break.
The big boys.
Oh, yeah, because that's what men do all the time when men are involved. Hey, this is the big boys. And unfortunately, stories like Jane's are all too common. Okay, that's Forbes. So we've set it up, and basically all I want to say about this is that regardless of the atmosphere you try to create, as long as it's mostly men, it's going to get attacked. Correct?
Even Bitcoin. Nothing is sacred.
Yeah, nothing.
From your video games, where now if you say something wrong on a video game and during an online game on your PS4 or whatever, they'll delete your account. A service that you pay for, mind you, and they'll stop you from using a service you pay for. If you're using Bitcoin, you're making a transaction. Well, you need to give a cut of that transaction to women because they're unequally represented in the Bitcoin community, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what's left? The bathroom? Are you going to be in the bathroom now when I take a shit?
Yes.
Are you going to examine my stool sample and tell me what I'm eating wrong?
Yes.
Where does it end?
Yes, and they're not only going to be in the bathroom with you, but they're also going to be in your Boy Scouts with you.
Just the Scouts.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't go after the Girl Scouts.
No.
And the reason why they don't go after the Girl Scouts is because they know if they go after the Girl Scouts, they're all going to join the Boy Scouts. And they can't do that because they still make money.
That's right. But this is the thing. Look, every single the lesson to be learned here, and I think this is reflective through almost everything we've said, is that anything that is a sign of male independence or ingenuity or creativity or strength, anything that is male must be destroyed. It must be subverted and it must be destroyed.
James Bond is next. Yeah. Or Indiana Jones.
I thought Indiana Jones was going to be a woman. Didn't you send me that?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a woman too.
So that's the point. I mean, that's really the point. But we want to continue here because you sent me those 2 articles. Again, Forbes and CBC, Bitcoin's gender divide is a bad sign. Forbes, misogyny festers at the heart of a blockchain community. Now let's go.
This is an attack on MGTOW though, because a lot of guys that identify with MGTOW use Bitcoin. They use
cryptocurrency.
Coins.
Yes.
I mean that guy. What's Luke's buddy's name? Chris Canto.
Mm-hmm. Oh, same with
He made his
Vention.
own. Vention is into Bitcoin. That's right. And Chris Cantu made his own red pill coin. He called it.
Nice.
Yeah. So there you go. Again, guys are trying to go around the system.
Yes.
They're trying to form their own new currency. They're trying to get around the gynocentric heavy burden of the state, where your currency is worthless. I mean, you guys are bitching and moaning about Democrat, Republican. Meanwhile, a loaf of bread is skyrocketing in price.
Yeah.
So guys are trying to come up with new ways. That's why you see 94% of the transactions are in fact men.
Men are trying to reinvent currency and get around the system now that, yes, is very gynocentric and is known to be. So men are going their own way, as they naturally like to do. But the moment they do that, the powers that be attack them. And they attack them with their lapdogs, and their lapdogs are women. They're barking women. And these barking
minorities. Come on, let's break it down. You got women, minorities, and immigrants.
Immigrants, yeah. Well, immigrants, minorities, kind of the same thing. But these are their barking lapdogs, and they're coming after it. And every male becomes a victim of this. It doesn't matter if you're incel or MGTOW or everything in between and beyond. Every male becomes
all race
a victim
and creed.
Yeah.
All races and creed.
Yeah. So men doing what they are trying to do, what they naturally do, the things they do that basically uplift a society, its conditions, and the powers that be are trying to stop that. They have the lapdog women barking at them, getting them to stop. Because I'll tell you what, men are trying to invent new forms of currency and trading outside of the mainstream. And you know what women are doing in the same time? Except trying to hijack it. Besides that, what are they doing? They're asking for more handouts from the government. That's what women are doing.
Right.
That's what women are doing, and that's what women will do. Your sister's going to do it. Your mother's going to do it. Your neighbor's going to do it. Your daughter's going to do it. They're all going to fucking do it. The system is set up for them to do that. They're going to keep asking for handouts, and they're going to keep getting handouts, and you're going to keep supporting them as they get their handouts. And when you try to subvert that system that is completely biased against you, when you try to subvert it as a male, they're going to attack you. They're going to call you an incel or an ISIS. They're going to call you a terrorist. They're going to call you toxic for being masculine. They're going to try to de-emasculate you and completely destroy everything you've tried to create. This is the world we're living in right now. Now I want to go into.
So when do the jack boots start showing up at doorsteps now?
Well, that's a good question.
That is the great question. I do raise that to you. How would it come? In what form?
When are they going to start breaking down doors and arresting men for trying to create currency?
Not just that, but having a form such as the one we work on.
Yeah, absolutely. Just even doing what we're doing now, congregating. When is there going to be a law put in place that says no group may congregate with more than 2 men in one place? You know what I mean? Like, when is that shit going to happen?
Or there needs to be a homosexual there watching that 3 men are conspiring to talk bad about women.
It's like it's like the communists in Romania. When I talked to that old guy from Romania who said, for every 10 people there were two informers.
There was a rat.
Huh?
Yeah, there was a rat. There was an informer or a rat.
There was a rat for every 10 people in any given circumstance of congregation of people. For every 10 people, there was 2 informers, and one informer was his intention was to inform on the other informer. That was communist Romania in the 80s. So
Yep, that's under Cherstow.
yeah, what was his name? Ceausescu.
Ceausescu.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it might come to that eventually, you know.
Well,
But
who's going to be the ones ratting? Nazi Germany was the children ratting on the parents.
well, the women are the women. Well, the women can rat on their husbands any time of day. They already do that. I mean, there used to be a form of chivalry between the partners of men and women, where a woman was considered not to be trusted when a man had committed a crime. Where they would consider,
That's correct.
Yeah,
the wives used to rat their husbands out. Yes, in the Soviet Union.
Yeah. So I don't know. Just be careful. That's all you can do. But we went from with Bitcoin, we went from gender divide is bad to misogyny in Bitcoin. Now let's look at this next one, because I love how this plays out. Here's the next one I'm going to share the screen with. This next one by Fortune magazine says how women could send Bitcoin to the moon.
Mooning.
So now we've gone from there's too many men in cryptocurrency, it's misogynist, and now we've gone from that to here's how women are going to make Bitcoin better. Okay? And when they say to the moon, I'm assuming that's supposed to be a positive.
Yeah, it's always a good thing to be mooning.
To be sent to the moon is a good thing, but it can be seen as a bad thing too. But I'm pretty sure this is seen in a positive
No,
light.
in financial terms, mooning means it's going all the way to the.
Okay, all right, I didn't know that. It's not like one of these days to the moon. It's not that.
Right. Yeah.
It's not that. All right. So in the article, it says. This is, again, I think this is by a woman. It says, Bitcoin is having a pretty good week, rising more than 11% and breaking above 9,000 for the first time in more than a month. But for Bitcoin's price to really take off, there's a missing part of the equation that may hold the key. While Bitcoin surged last year along with the cryptocurrencies, much of that more than 20-fold rise was driven by men. One analysis of Google searches found that 95% of people Googling Bitcoin were male. So it's not even just male investing in it.
It's not even close. It's not even close ratio. Like, why are you even mentioning it in the article? Like, it's a no-brain situation that women want nothing to do with fucking Bitcoin. Oh my God, this insanity needs to stop. Oh my God. Jesus, this is not, men use their penises to take a piss. Men,
men.
It's so
men.
PC 1, 2, 3.
Men wipe from back to front.
Did you know that men are more likely to get prostate cancer, and women are unrepresented in the prostate cancer community?
It never ends, man. Now, see, this author says, I feel like we're missing out on this major opportunity to market to 51% of the population. So again, here we have a sort of forced diversity issue. There's not enough women, so what do? We spend countless wasteful hours trying to sell a product to women that women don't want. They've done this with comic books. What happens?
Movies. Action movies.
Ghostbusters. What happens every fucking time?
Women can't laugh. Women are unrepresented in the laughing community, if anyone else has noticed.
Video games. Comic books.
Right. Everything. You know what? Guys are underrepresented in shopping. Do something about that.
Try to sell that to men. Get up and shop, men.
Go to Macy's. Why? We need to get men into the malls. They're underrepresented in consumer consumption.
Look, for the love of God, I mean, this they're trying to force women into something they don't appreciate or want or desire or have any
Don't even know
interest in.
anything about it. I still don't even know anything about Bitcoin.
No.
But for fuck's sakes, it's obvious women want nothing to do with it.
What happened when they forced women to like comics? Well, Marvel went bankrupt.
Don't be touching my Bitcoin with women. Don't do that. I'm down. I'm already down enough money. I don't need fucking Britney down the road. I got blockchain. You know.
Yeah. Then it's
You
over.
know, it's the women that would get involved in Bitcoin would actually use it as a proxy to meet guys.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It would
That's
just
the
be
only way they would get. I need help. Can you help me set up my Coinbase account? Oh yeah, I'll white knight. You want me to put money in it for you?
Yeah.
I'll donate. Add it to my Venmo. Bitcoin me, Venmo.
No.
Yeah, I bet you the 5% of women that use Bitcoin are prostitutes.
Oh, absolutely. Probably.
Totally.
Yeah. The 5% of women that are using Bitcoin are selling themselves for sex. Absolutely.
100%. 100%, man. I really do think that 5% were girls on Snapchat and they got in at Bitcoin low and they're holding it now.
Well, here's the last article, and I want to push it over to this now because remember, you guys have seen the screen. It goes from Bitcoin's gender divide is a bad sign to misogyny festers at the heart of blockchain to how women could send Bitcoin to the moon, and then finally we hit Long Island woman charged with using Bitcoin to launder money to support ISIS.
Okay, so prostituting and terrorism. Okay.
It
I
reads
take that back.
it reads like an incredibly perfect joke. I swear to God, Bill Burr should be doing this for stand-up, man. We go from misogyny to let's get women involved to laundering money and supporting terrorism. Like you couldn't write a better punchline, man.
Yep.
I mean, it's the same as celebrating the first female naval officer in Argentina, and then the sub disappears. Like you can't
First
write better.
female to use Coinbase and supports radical Islam.
Yes, it's no difference than first female pilot to attempt to fly around the world, and she disappears.
Right.
It's no fucking different, man. So here we go. Long Island woman charged with using Bitcoin to launder money to support ISIS. Authorities say a woman on Long Island, New York, stole and transferred more than $85,000 to support the Islamic State using Bitcoin. How many people want to bet that she leaned left in her politics? Oh, here's her name, Zubia Shanaz.
That's a nice American name.
Her grandparents were obviously Irish immigrants.
She's got a Blue Lives Matter decal on the back of her fucking GMC pickup truck.
I'm sure she owns a fucking rifle.
Oh my god, this is great.
So she's 27 and she's charged with bank fraud, conspiracy to commit money laundering, and 3 counts of money laundering, according to a statement from the Department of Justice. She pleaded not guilty on. Of course, she pleaded not guilty. All women plead not guilty because they truly believe they are not guilty. On Thursday in U.S. District Court in Central Islip, what is it? Islip, New York.
Islip. That's what.
Islip.
Yeah, Islip.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know Islip. New
Yeah,
York.
it's all right.
Shanaz, a fine young Midwestern country girl, is a U.S. citizen born in Oklahoma? No, born in Pakistan.
There you go.
She
was a hardcore groupie, man. She loved ISIS. She's got all their best hits.
She's been to all their concerts.
Yeah, I've been to all the concerts, right?
She's got all their videos.
I like Muhammad with a U more than Muhammad with an E.
I just love it when they behead them. That's my favorite video.
I get fucking wet when I hear Akbar.
Akbar, won't you love me? My favorite song. She lives in the town of Brentwood, New York, where she was working. She's probably close to you. Is she close to you?
Oh, dude, she's right down. Dude, it's one town over.
You probably swiped right on her on Tinder.
There's a lot of Pakistanis over here. Yeah, right. Yep, yep.
She was working as a lab technician in a Manhattan hospital till June.
Oh, good. That's great. That's who you give the job to.
When
She's
she,
probably making a ton of money. She was subsidizing terrorism, so the pharmaceutical company
yeah.
was subsidizing ISIS. Therefore, we should bring up charges against the pharmacy company.
Well, you know what this is too. This is clearly a sign of toxic femininity, and what I'd like to coin the phrase now, in 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 vagina. I don't even know what would I call this. What kind of fucking name am I going to throw on this? I mean, this is clearly a problem. She's probably part of a group of people, right? I'm sure she has friends that are doing the same kind of thing, and this is clearly toxic femininity. And these women and these people in these groups need to be taken down. It says here, as a healthcare professional in 2016, Miss Shahnaz was a volunteer with the Syrian American Medical Society. Ooh.
Oh my God! What the? Are you kidding me, man?
No.
Oh. So she was definitely on the government's radar then at this point.
Syrian American Medical. What the fuck is the Syrian American Medical
What
Society?
was she doing in Syria? Why is she coming back to America after being in Syria? Born in Pakistan, this is just it just spells disaster. It's got disaster written right across it in bold letters.
Well, this is clearly a sign that means we should definitely not allow women, and especially Middle Eastern women, to be a part of cryptocurrency. That's my opinion. I mean, they should be definitely found.
No, we should ban Bitcoin as a whole because of her.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's what they're going to try and do.
Right.
Okay, but it says here she witnessed the suffering of the refugees firsthand.
That's why she has to support ISIS, the one who's causing the suffering.
Her humanitarian efforts then and since were motivated by her commitment to helping alleviate the plight of the people in the Middle East. Jesus Christ. According to Justice Department court filings, the defendant used more than a dozen credit cards, 6 of which allegedly were fraudulently obtained, to buy approximately $62,700 in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. They say that Shahnaz converted the cryptocurrencies back to US dollars and deposited the funds into a checking account in her name. She also obtained a $22,500 loan from a Manhattan bank. And then she began transferring money abroad to support ISIS. Okay,
so she obviously met some issues over in Syria to do all this.
How do you use credit cards to buy the currency?
You can buy for certain coins using a credit card.
Well, she says it says fraudulently obtained. So she committed fraud and she stole credit cards.
Yep.
She stole people's credit cards, bought the currency, converted it to US dollars. Jesus, she could teach the Indians here how to actually make a buck. Because they steal.
Listen, she's a martyr. Basically, what she did, she knew what she was doing was wrong. Her intent was there. She was being rational in what she did. She knew she was going to go to jail, and in her mind, as long as they got the money that she took out, fraudulently, it was a win.
Wow.
Right? Think about it, right? She knew what she was doing. She's not an idiot if she's in the medical field. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, she's got to be. Well, but then again, we don't know too much about those claims because these are quotes.
Working on a medical team. I mean, you have to have certain clearances in order to do that. AM. You can't just get a visa to go over to Syria and work as a medical
True,
a
yeah.
medical person. You know that as an expatriate how difficult it is to be some type of highfalutin NGO or whatever.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So she passed the bar. She passed American visa regulations.
Yeah.
This is how incompetent your government is.
Yeah. That's amazing, actually. That's absolutely amazing. Well, as long as they pat you down as long as they pat down the middle American traveling from St. Louis to Kentucky, then
Right, you have a jar aspirin. You know, it's cavity search time from Bubba at TSA.
yeah, absolutely. But this chick's getting in, making a bad name for cryptocurrency. But this is what, again, women destroying it. Well, has cryptocurrency made the radar as far as terrorist organizations go yet? Like MRAs, has it made that radar yet?
No, not yet. It'll get there though. If you type in the word like alt-right and Bitcoin, it pops up all over the place.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how about this? Let's take a quick commercial break before, and then we'll kind of pad off the end of our stream. So, gentlemen, we'll be back in about 5 minutes after a few short words from our sponsor.
How do you like to enjoy a Rusty Brown's Ring Donut?
I like to lick lovingly around the outside and then thrust my tongue in the middle.
I like to munch it vigorously.
I just love the batter all over my face.
On Friday nights, I just can't stop eating Rusty Brown's Ring Donuts.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Sometimes I like to wear women's panties and walk around 5th Street.
When you go downtown, make sure you enjoy Rusty Brown's Ring Donuts.
Hi, I'm Jeremy Robar, entrepreneur, VIP, and founder of the revolutionary program, Think Your Way to Success. It's a 3-step program that's been changing lives and my income for the last 2 years. 5 years ago, I was a nobody, just like you. After my Think Your Way to Success program, I spend the entire weekend in my jacuzzi or engaging in the exciting sport of domino toppling. Hey, if you can think it, you can do it. One of my award-winning courses is sure to be perfect for you. The first course I call Think, Hold That Thought, Complete, because that's what you do. Step 2 is known as Learn, Start, Doing, where I explain the mysteries of starting. Or take the new accelerated course that will have you laughing and hugging strangers. Motivate, demonstrate, then motivate again. Just listen to these endorsements, and remember, these people volunteered. They aren't being paid much.
I've been on the Think, Hold That Thought Complete program, and I have to say, I'm finally going to start my career in being a well-paid rich person.
Yeah, I've been thinking my way to success for a while now. It's some good stuff.
Call now and sign up for my Think Your Way to Success program. And if you want to think really fast, try my Crank It Out program. Call 1-866-434-SELF. Hey, don't just do it. Think about it.
Sweaty leather tracksuit? Absurdly fat Dayglow laces? Something missing? Complete the look with a replica car sign insignia on a chunky gold plate chain at Vice City's one-stop shop for people who know how to put the hip into hip-hop.
Wow, you look fresh.
Complete the look. At the law firm of DeLeo and Furex, we understand that sometimes life throws you a curveball. We help our blue-chip clients get their lives back after circumstances have conspired against them. Just listen.
It was an unfortunate accident what happened to my wife on that precarious cliff. DeLeo and Furex can't bring my wife back, but they made sure I didn't end up in the slammer.
I was unfortunate enough to be found with 15 kilos in my spare tire. I was so mad at the auto repair shop that sold me that tire. Thanks to Delio and Furex, the district attorney saw it that way too.
I accidentally torched a Quickie Mart when my medication ran out. Delio and Furex helped me and the community by ensuring a healthy settlement from the pharmaceutical companies.
At DeLeo and Furex, we understand the judicial system and will ensure the truth is heard, no matter how improbable. We're not cheap, but what price can you put on truth? Call DeLeo and Furex today at 866-974-2333. That's 866-9-SHADY. DeLeo and Furex. Accidents happen, and we'll prove it.
The store leading the fight against communism is having a blowout sale. Ammunition has a wide array of peacemakers. Come by Ammunition on Militia Mondays, exercise your Second Amendment rights, and get 10% off all armor-piercing bullets. We're the only gun store that lets you try it before you buy it. Need anti-tank missiles? We've got them. Flamethrowers? Oh, yeah. No credit? No problem. No money down. 90 days, same as cash. Shoot now, pay later. During the 10-minute waiting period, fire off a few rounds of the Ammunition gun range, featuring faces of famous commie pinkos. Come by Ammunition and register to win an anti-aircraft gun actually used when we whooped Australia's ass. This weekend is the Ammunition Film Festival with free screenings of the documentary Red Dawn. Ammunition, protecting your rights. Are you tired of Dad?
Dad, no one wants to hear your stupid Vietnam stories.
Are you tired of Mom?
Hi, Angel. Do you want to read a book or go outside?
No!
The arcade comes to your living room, only without the creepy guys offering to show you puppies.
Awesome!
The Degenitron. You can play video games just like you were in the arcade.
Excellent!
The Degenitron gaming system plays 3 exciting games, including Defender of the Faith, where you save the green dots with your fantastic flying red square.
Cool!
Monkey's Paradise, where you swing from green dot to green dot with your red square monkey.
That's right!
And Penetrator, where you smash the green dots deep inside the mysterious red square.
Wow!
The Degenitron brings arcade realism to your living room. It can even take quarters, and a strange, sweaty man comes by to empty the machine on Fridays. Degenitron, fighting the evil of boredom.
I'll never go to school again! Degenitron!
Do you have dry mouth?
I sure do.
It protects your teeth, fights infection, and lubricates your food. But what happens when you run out of saliva?
Helps me, I can't talk.
For personal dryness upstairs, it's Salivex.
Wow, I can spit again.
Salivex is more than saliva in a can. Salivex improves consumption efficiency by 50%. No more halfway cures like coating your throat with cooking oil to have that extra piece of cake or bowl of kitty litter.
After a night out, my tongue tasted like carpet. It was embarrassing. Now with Salivex, I can eat a whole box of crackers or lick my life partner's
stamp collection
all night.
It's like having a salivation army in my mouth. Now I can suck a
lollipop
for as long as I want.
Salivex tastes like your own saliva. That's because at Salivex's state-of-the-art production facilities, we use salivation philanthropists who make Salivex all day. Salivex. When it comes to personal dryness upstairs, we're deadly serious.
Hi, I'm B.J. Smith. In my long and illustrious 3-year career at the top of pro football, I whooped some serious ass and got paid for it. They didn't call me death in tight pants for nothing. When you have such a rewarding career maiming others as I have, you know how to stay fit. Through running, wrestling, stuffing 20s down panties of foxy strippers, firearm training, nasal pursuit, and beating the hell out of your fellow man. That's what keeps me healthy. And now, using training methods I perfected, it's going to work for you with BJ's Fit for Football. Watch those pounds fall off. I'm down to 300 pounds using exactly the method I demonstrated on tape. I mean, who are you going to trust to get you fit? A man who can rip your arm off and beat you with the wet end? Or some aerobics instructor who wouldn't get drafted by the local hopscotch team? Hell no. BJ's Fit for Football. Out now on Beta and VHS. Remember, to win a game of football or life, you have to annihilate everything in your path in a blind range.
Ever since Linda started working, our kids are home alone.
We tried hiring a nanny, but she wanted health insurance.
Yeah, right. That's when we got Domestipod. He's great with the kids.
Mrs. Lawrence, Tommy has some skin magazines under the bed.
And he helps us, too.
Would you like your drink freshened?
He's a great conversation piece at our special parties.
Please put your car keys in the hat and the fun will begin.
It's It's like having a personalized alarm clock.
I brought you a drink.
It's 8 in the morning.
I made it a double.
Oh, Domestabot.
Domestabot. He's 3 foot high. He only says 10 phrases. He's the friend you've always dreamed of. Order Domestabot today.
All right, we're back. We just needed a little bit of time for our sponsors. So we're going to kind of finish off tonight, Nick and I. Bring up a couple things here. First of all, yes, this was a result of a community guideline strike. So that's why we're here on my backdoor channel. And a little bit of irony is the fact that this channel was actually created because about 3 or 4 years ago, I had a strike on YouTube, but it was not a community guideline strike. I want you people to understand this. I existed on YouTube before community guideline strikes existed. Okay? And the only thing that you could get, like back in those days, you couldn't get a strike for saying someone was a faggot or using the word nigger or saying something bad about the Jews. You couldn't get a strike for that. Or talking about MGTOW issues. You couldn't get a strike for that back in the day. You might not believe that, but it's true. I come from a time when that was non-existent. And in fact, the only thing you had to worry about back then were copyright strikes. They called them copyright strikes. And the copyright strike was basically, oops, you used a piece of a song that doesn't belong to you, and we think you might make money on your video. We're not going to have any of that. Bad for you. And they'd slap you on the wrist, and I got I think I got 2 strikes in a row or something back in the day. And what they did was they said, okay, now you can't upload a video longer than 15 minutes. That's what they said. That was my punishment for a copyright strike. This had nothing to do with community guidelines. It had nothing to do with offending someone's sensibilities. It was very straightforward and common sense. You keep using stuff that doesn't belong to you. And it was always music. Video you could usually get away with, but music, no. As soon as you used a song that they knew belonged to somebody else, that somebody else could be making money off of, boom, done. You got a copyright strike. And those copyright strikes didn't stick with you. Like, if you got 10 in a row, it didn't mean you lost your channel. You could get 1,000 copyright strikes. You never lost your channel. Your channel stayed up. You just kept getting punished for it. And the reason I have this backdoor channel is because back in the day, I got a copyright strike, and they said, oh, we're going to have to punish you from now for the next, I don't know how long it was. I don't even think it was 3 months. It was maybe a month. They said for a month, you can no longer upload videos longer than 15 minutes. Okay? This is what they said. So, what did I do? I created this channel. Backdoor Ayam. I made a backup channel. And that's where I did my talks with Sandman. I did my talks with... and I mean, the whole concept of the backdoor shows came from this channel. And I did all my best talks on it. So basically, getting that strike in the past, which was a copyright strike, it created this channel. And now I'm back again, revisiting this channel, but this time it was for what they have now, community guideline strike. In other words, I upset someone's feelings. And that's basically it. I upset someone's goddamn feelings. Whether it's a robot or a human being, I upset their feelings enough that they punished me by saying you can no longer... They didn't say you can't upload videos longer than 15 minutes. They didn't punish me for any... They didn't say you can't be monetized anymore. You can't make money off this channel anymore. What they said was you can't do live streams. The only thing I do. It's very fucking fishy. Like really, really fishy, man. The one thing that I do, that's what you can't do anymore, and it's because of a bullshit of a video that's 5 years old. And
that's the weird part. Why does it have to be something from so far back? But you're incriminating someone for something he did 5 years ago,
5 years ago.
before there was community guidelines.
Yes.
Therefore, it should not be. You're getting around the a fair rule of a bit of a understanding.
Well, in true criminal justice law, you can't retroactively punish somebody for a law that didn't exist when they committed the crime.
Exactly.
It's unjust. It's absolutely unjust.
Yeah.
But on the interwebs, which is run and owned by private companies such as Google, they can get away with whatever the fuck they want. They can make and create any rules they want on any given day. Tomorrow they can say anyone that's ever used the word nigger ever since YouTube existed is now banned for life from YouTube. They can do that. They can do it tomorrow, and they can implement it. This is the Wild West for private companies and the powers they have.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I mean, a lot of people are praising you. I mean, Jordan Peterson says YouTube is a blessing because it's destroying the mainstream, and I agree with that sentiment. I agree with that concept. But the one thing he doesn't talk about is exactly this that's happening. And I wonder what Peterson is going to say the day that his channel gets a guideline strike. Because if he's not playing with the big boys, he will get one eventually.
Yeah, he picks and chooses his third rails wisely.
Yeah.
And he seems to be venturing further away from his original script and narrative.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I guarantee you he's going to lose a lot of his sincerity over time. Because if he doesn't, he will get a guideline strike. Anybody will. Let's name off some other people that might be,
Molly Nux.
Now, has Molyneux ever dealt with a guideline strike?
I don't know.
I know that Mark Dice has.
Oh, he always pisses them off.
I know Mark Dice has. I know, we know Voice for Men has. Anybody involved with the Voice for Men has.
Mm-hmm.
TFM's done, apparently.
Right. Didn't Argon... I'm not a big Argon fan, but didn't he get Sargon?
Yeah, he did get a strike once. I'm pretty sure.
Richie Allen, the Richie Allen Show got taken down for a while. That was that's a great channel. He pretty much put David Icke on the map, that guy.
Yeah. But if you
Ry Dawson's gone now.
Yeah. Oh, is he?
Well, he got taken down, his channel, and he's banned from Facebook permanently.
Holy
We're talking about Palestine and Israel.
Wow. But that's the world we live in now. You guys, there's 5 people watching this. That's it. And I got a community guideline strike. There's 5 fucking people watching. There's not 1,000 people watching. There's not 100,000 people watching.
Powwow we're having, a powwow. You gotta come and fucking kick off our bonfire over.
Okay, Rico says TFM's still there, so my information from, if it's his main channel, my information from Paul Proteus earlier today was wrong. Paul Proteus said he got his 3rd strike. So but Paul's been out of the loop for so long, he probably doesn't know what's going on. All right, so fine. Okay, TFM's still there, but he's gotten a number of strikes. He's been fighting with it the last few months. Right? Who else has gotten strikes that I can think of? I know a few others that I can't think of off the top of my head that have gotten strikes recently. And it's the community guidelines, and I've watched videos on it, and people, they don't know how to take it. They're like, we don't know what's happening. We don't know the rules. Like, this is what happens when we praise this alternative media that's taking over television, but at the same time, this alternative media controls every aspect of it. They can turn you off and on the way they want to.
Delete your whole body of work, as they did to me on Yelp.
Yeah, they'll take everything down. You lose everything.
So they're fishing backwards now. They're looking even further back into the internet history of people.
Oh yeah, that's what they're going back in time and finding stuff that you've done.
Right. So where would this be in 20 years from now? Let's say you say the word nigger, and the word nigger is now a federal offense, and you have to do life in prison for saying that word.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know on Facebook, if you type the word nigger in any context, you'll go to Facebook jail.
What do you mean if you just search it?
Yeah, yeah. Like if I for example, like it's one thing to say like context in law, context means a lot. Like if you were to say the definition of nigger is, and then explained it, is a lot different than saying I'm going to kill you, you fucking nigger. You know, there's a big difference. Context is huge, but not on the internet. Context doesn't matter. On Twitter, context doesn't matter. On YouTube, context doesn't matter. On Facebook, as long as you type the word tranny and kill within the same paragraph, you're going to jail. There's no such thing as context. And I think I told you this before. I was put in Facebook jail once for writing the line, if you take the word ginger and rearrange the letters, it spells nigger.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that got you in trouble.
That put me in jail for 30 days just for that. That wasn't hate. That wasn't hate towards anyone. It was simply stating a fact. You take the words in ginger, Jinger, and you rearrange them, you can spell nigger. That will put you in jail. So when you retroactively get put in prison here in YouTube, and this is it does a lot more damage on YouTube for people, like someone like that drag race killed my BMW's tranny.
What kind of BMW did Rico say? What kind of BMW he's got?
Yeah, he did say, but I can't remember. What did you say your BMW was, Rico? I got to go back and look at it.
He's being Mr. Suave in his Beamer.
M2, he said. M2.
Okay, that's cool.
But yeah, the fact remains, there's no context. You can retroactively be put in prison. If you go back and actually what do you call it? The IRS, Internal Revenue Services. The IRS has been guilty of retroactively stinging people for taxes. So the concept.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So this concept it's not new. It's not new. It's the same. It's the same tyranny, man. I mean, people who got away with tax breaks in the 80s got stung in the 90s, and 70s to 80s. It's been done by the IRS in the past. Like they actually went in and said, "I know we didn't have this policy then, but we do now, and because you broke it then, we're gonna fucking sting you for it." They've done that shit, man. And they're doing it on fucking YouTube.
Right, and again, there's no pushback from the general populace. So that's why I'm saying if they can do that and then fast forward another 20 years and they have internment camps run by the DHS and TSA, I mean, people laugh at the whole term FEMA camp. People laugh at that term. I don't laugh at it. I do not. There are swaths of land, former prisons in the U.S. that are now being leased by the Department of Homeland Security and the TSA that no one really knows about. That's a fact.
Well,
that's a fact, people.
There's hundreds of thousands of men in prison that shouldn't be.
And no. That's one topic. There's already how many people in jail in the United States? You're 100% correct.
Yeah.
But I'm saying there are very large pieces of government property that are abandoned and that are owned by the DHS. For what reason? For what reason? I mean, I can only draw. I can only be hypothetical about it.
Well, this is the thing about a medium like the internet and YouTube and Google. Google runs the internet. And the interesting thing about it is you just said the general population doesn't know about it because the general population doesn't use YouTube as a form of expression. Most of them are using it like television. Because
Correct.
The transition from the old media to the new, and this is according to Jordan Peterson, is a lot of the people are transitioning into the new media are still treating it the same as they did the old. Okay, they're still seeing it as the same way. In fact, I think a lot of people that are transitioning from the old to the new are just going from cable to Netflix, which is a pay for subscription. It's the same.
No, that's how I treat YouTube. I treat YouTube just like my TV.
Well, that's the thing. The people that are experiencing this sort of retroactive punishment from Google and YouTube are the people that are actually using that system, that platform, for something other than casual entertainment. Right? They're actually using it to have a voice and share it and express it. They're using it as a soapbox. Those are the people that are seeing this sort of retroactive, unjust system being put into place. The people that
built YouTube, more or less, what gave YouTube the amount of money. You're killing your revenue base.
The people that built YouTube don't exist anymore. It was bought out a long time ago.
No. I'm talking about the people that make content. You're attacking people that make content on YouTube.
Yes, yeah, because those are the only people that matter, because they're using the new media in a way that is, it's not. They don't want it to be intended for. They want it to be. They want it to replace the old media.
Mm-hmm.
They want it to replace the old media with the same system. Passive viewers. That's all they want. Passive viewers that put money into it. Now, what YouTube has become, and the media has become, you no longer, some of those passive viewers become active content makers. And those active content makers can make a profit off those viewers.
Right.
They don't like that. It's not good. The only people that
Look,
are...
if you're not subscribed to NBC or CNN, you're a threat.
Mm-hmm. And if you don't pull that narrative line, you could become a millionaire if you on YouTube if you have the right equipment and right personality, and you publish videos on I don't know, top 10 designer fashions or whatever. You know where I'm getting at. I mean, there's a lot of ways, but you have to toe that line. This is not an open soapbox. This is not a speaker's corner. YouTube is not that. It was that for about 2 years, and then it was gone, and it hasn't been that since. It's not.
And never forget that Google pays nothing in taxes.
No, of course they don't. Of course they don't. I mean, as a corporation, they have the rights of an individual.
Right, exactly.
It's fucked up, man, and they exploit those rights. But they own the internet now, just like Disney owns entertainment in the old media. Google owns entertainment in the new media. So
not only that, they own your personal information.
Yeah, and they own all your data. Everything you've ever typed into a keyboard on the internet is now owned by Google, and they make money off of it. What's his name?
Can you imagine walking in front of the Google judges, and the Google judges are looking at you, just like that that video, that Twilight Zone episode you sent me back in the day?
Yeah.
You know what, that one where the guy's in front of your obsolete man?
Yeah, the obsolete man, yeah.
The obsolete man. So something like that, where you're in front of the Google judges. I am serious. Did you say that white women fuck dogs in the year 2018?
Yeah. We have on record that in 2018 you said white women fuck dogs. This is unacceptable. You are obsolete. Obsolete, man.
I'm not obsolete. I did things.
I have a purpose.
Yeah.
Well, look, we're five. We're six. We're six people in watching. We're obsolete. But according to Google, we're not obsolete enough to be. No, actually, I guess we are. We're so obsolete that we're going. My channel is going to get taken down eventually, and my voice will be forgotten on this platform, on this open-ended soapbox. And the same with people like TFM, and again, and other people. It's you can't win it.
No. You're done, so.
Well,
it's all right. It's been, I'm hopeful that a new platform would open up. I'm loving that BitChute. BitChute is fantastic. I'm loving what they're throwing up on there. I'm talking gore, snuff, things that Live Leak wouldn't even throw up online.
Well, we'll have to check out BitChute.
Might be the future.
Well, BitChute's one to look at, but you can't live stream. We might have to look at Twitch. We might have to consider, because I know TFM does Twitch. But yeah, we're gonna have to consider.
We'll ride this thing right into the ground.
Yeah, we'll ride it to the ground.
Right until we get in front of the Google judges.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if a lot of you people know, but there's also another mention. There's also another prophetic passage not in the Quran, but some of the Hadith of Islamic tradition. There's a prophetic passage that says, when the Google marries the Disney, the times will come to an end. That is an authentic Hadith passage. Ask any Muslim, he'll tell you.
When the queen is impregnated by the beast.
Which actually means when the Google marries the Disney. That's what it means.
Comes out a trans-fluid, migrant, atheist.
Dog fucking,
right. Obese, pimple-faced,
lonely,
penguin, lonely, hoarder. Yeah, that'll be it for sure.
Oh God, that's the end. When the Google marries the Disney, gentlemen, when the Google marries the Disney, it's over. You know that it's time to start stocking up water, food and water, non-perishable foods and water. Make sure you have a bug-out bag and a route of escape when the Google marries the Disney.
How long have we been on? 2.5 hours?
Yeah, we're gonna put it down. We're gonna put it to rest.
All right.
So everybody, we're gonna put it to rest. Remember, prophetic words here. You heard it first here at the back door. MGTOW Chats episode 28. When the Google marries the Disney, get your bug out bag and get the fuck out of Dodge. And I don't know if we'll be on the back door again for the Paul Proteus talk, but keep in mind that Paul Proteus will be with me on Monday, which is the 7th of this month, 8:30 p.m. We're going to have it going live. It's either going to be on this channel or it's going to be on the regular channel if the appeal goes through. If the appeal goes through, I will let you know. I'll make a short video and I'll let everybody know that the appeal went through, and Paul Proteus will be live with us on Monday on the regular channel. If the appeal doesn't go through, well, then I'll tell you that too, and we'll be back here.
Ayam loses his Google court case.
Yeah. If I get fucked by the Google Disney monster prostitute, then you know it's game over. But in the meantime, thanks for tuning in, guys. Again, I'll let you know, Proteus Monday coming up. Tell all your friends. Everybody wants to hear them. I know that. Oh, and also keep in mind that Bar will be on at some point in the future as well. So you know where to get it. You get it here with Ayam. Take care, guys, and talk to you later.